Hello class, welcome to the notes for today. Lesson 4, we are starting inequalities this week. You're going to be taking notes today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, lesson 4, 5, and 6. All of them are about inequalities. Make sure you write down at least everything that I write. And on Wednesday, after you take the last set of notes, lesson 6, you're going to upload them all on Google Classroom, or you can email them to me so that I know that you took the notes. But we'll go ahead and start for today. Here are our 4 friends, the 4 inequalities: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Hopefully you have some way you remember them. Less than is the L sign, so sometimes that helps people. Or whichever way, if it's like a crocodile, the way it's opening its mouth is the bigger side. So for example, if 5 is less than 10, you would write it like that. 5 is less than 10, and it is opening towards the bigger number. You could switch it around. You could put the 10 first. You just have to switch the sign. 10 is greater than 5, or it opens towards the 10. Now, another little vocab thing. This is less than or equal to. However, another way it might get said is the phrase at most. For example, let's say you want to go to Yogurtland, but because of social distancing, there can only be at most 10 people in the store at a time. That way everyone's at least a little bit spread out by 6 feet. You could write this as an inequality that X, being the amount of people in the Yogurtland, needs to be less than or equal to 10, because there can be at most 10 people there. In other words, no more than 10. So those are both different ways you could say less than. Greater than or equal to, I'm actually not 100% positive, but I think you need to be at least 16 to get your permit. I think that's right. On your 16th birthday, you can get, I don't quite remember, it's been a while, but let's say you have to be at least 16 to get your, sorry, not your permit, your license, your driver's license. If you need to be at least 16, that means you need to be greater than or equal to 16 years old. So X being your age needs to be greater than, or it could be equal to 16. Another way to say this is you can be no less than 16 years old. So those are vocab words that you might use for those symbols. Let's take a look at a few examples. Example number 1, Z is greater than 2. So if we were to write that as an inequality, we just have Z is greater than, well, it's greater than, meaning we're going to use this symbol here. It's going to open towards the Z, 2. And that would be your answer that you would write. You could also switch it and say 2 is less than Z. This is still saying, if you read it backwards, that Z, it's opening towards Z, so Z is greater than 2. Those two are exactly the same. Okay, those are equal. Example 2, 5 is less than B. Okay, or 5 is less than B. Okay, and I just realized there was an example, but if it said if 5 is less than or equal to B, then it would be 5 is less than or equal to B. You would need the line underneath the less than symbol. Okay. Example 3, 9 subtracted from A is greater than 12. 9 is being subtracted from A, so A actually has to come first. We're going to do A minus 9. So 9 is being subtracted from A. That amount is greater than 12. Okay. If you want to challenge, go ahead and try these word problems. So example 4, Natalie exercises no less than 40 minutes a day. If X is how long Natalie exercises for, you could try writing an inequality that would say X is no less than 40. Or to play in the ball pit like at McDonald's, a child must be at most 42 inches tall. So if a child is, let's say, W inches tall, what would the inequality be for them to be at most 42? So what you could do is pause it and try those two problems right now, and then you can press the play button to see if you got it correct. Welcome back. If x is no less than 40 minutes a day, then x is no less than, meaning it has to be bigger than or equal to 40. 40 is the smallest amount it can be, so 40 is on the small side, and then x is anything bigger. To play in the ball pit, the child, W, inches tall, they need to be at most 42. So we have W and 42. 42 is the biggest they can be, and it is okay if they're equal to 42 inches. So it's W is less than or equal to 42. Okay. And the last example, example 5. For each value of W, determine whether it is a solution to the inequality W is greater than 4. So we've done ones like this before with equations. We're just going to go through each number and check, does it satisfy this equation? So if W is greater than 4, first let's try 5. Is 5 greater than 4? Yes, it is. 5 is greater than 4. Is 4 greater than 4? Well, 4 is not bigger than 4. It is equal to 4. So this is actually not true. 4 is not a solution to W greater than 4. What about if W is 2? Is 2 greater than 4? No, it is not. And finally, the number 10. Is 10 greater than 4? Yes, it is. Okay. All right, your homework is in Alex. It is homework number 4, and it's on inequalities very similar to these examples.